Well, hello everybody. It's me again with another little endgame study, another classic motif here with knight and a opponent king trapped in the corner. We got some pawns here also, and obviously we have to find the right order of moves to win this as white. So the pawns are going up for the white, so we can grab this one or we can do nothing else with the pawn at the moment. Anyway, you can now pause the video, think about this on your own time, and see if you can find out what white has to play here to win this game. Go ahead. So, did you find it? I'm going to show it to you now, but just before I do that, let me just give you a small reminder. If you haven't checked out the membership section of this channel, please do so. There's a link in the comment section. You can get a chance to become a member of this channel. You get extra videos, extra everything, I would say. You can use me as a tutor, send me games, and I will analyze them for you, and a bunch of other cool stuff. So give that a quick look, and now we continue with this study. Okay, here we go. So let's see what happens. Well, the obvious starting move to look at is to just grab this pawn. What will happen then? Well, if black plays the king to a2, he is very much lost very soon. But instead, he's trying to get himself stalemated by playing a2. And it seems like if we move the pawn or the knight, obviously that's a stalemate. In this case, we'll have to allow the black king to escape. And when he does, this is a draw only. Even if we are promoting both of us, this is a draw. Knight is not good enough. And anyway, black will just check and grab the knight. So now it's definitely a very, very clear draw. So we cannot grab this pawn, meaning black will be able to grab our pawn in the next move. But we don't need the pawn actually, we only need the knight because the king here is pretty much fenced in the corner, so it's just a matter of doing the right thing. And the first correct move is the only move that wins here is the knight to f5. The plan here is to allow black to have the extra pawn, and we're going to block it to create Zugzwang when we want to, and create tempo moves, possible tempo moves for black when we need that also. And by moving to f5, we are aiming to go to d4. That's why we've got to put it on f5. We couldn't have placed it on b5 because black will simply have grabbed it. But also by removing the knight, we are threatening to maybe not take here, but just passing and getting a queen, and that will of course be a very easy win. So basically black is forced to take our pawn, otherwise we will go ahead with our plans here and win very easy. So he has to take it. And now I already gave you the idea of what we need to do. We want to have this extra pawn for black. It's very good, it's useful for us. He doesn't want it himself really, but now we will just block it, meaning he's forced to play either the king or this pawn. And obviously if he plays this pawn, then we have a checkmate right away. So that's not a good idea. So black needs to play king a2. Okay, now we set up the first stage of this study. Now it's just a matter of finding how are we winning from here. If you need to pause the video again, go ahead. All right, here we go. So we need to keep blocking this pawn a while more. We don't want to give black options of pushing this pawn. If it goes too far, we will have to take it, and then we'll end up with a draw. So we need to block it for now and allow him to move it later. So king c2 is the next continuation. We need to block black king here still, and the king is equally good at c2 as in c1. So this is just a tempo move for us. Now black only has one legal move, and that is the king to a1. All right, there's no point in moving the king back, so now we have to move the knight. And it seems like actually we are winning in any case. But the easiest way to win now is to put the knight on c6. Because now, if he moves this d pawn, we will simply just grab it. And again, of course, if he moves there, there's checkmate in 1. If he moves the king to a2, now we have the classic motif as I spoke about. Knight e2, king comes back, knight c1. We are now blocking the square, so the king cannot go there. He has to move the pawn, and that's a checkmate. So black will not sacrifice his pawn right away after we play knight c6. He will try something else. And pushing the pawn here is, again, very, very stupid. It's good if we move back, because then it's a stalemate, but instead we will go to a5, and we will follow up with a checkmate on b3. So from here, the king will go to a2. Now we moved away, and this pawn is still here. There's no point in going back. We have to do something more creative, and that is checking on b4. King comes to a1 again, and now again we don't want to do the mistake of taking the pawn here. We have lost the tempo. He will again push, put himself into a stalemate, and we will have to allow him to escape with the king. So now we need this pawn a bit longer. We have to do another tempo move for white. That is king to c1, and the knight is very, very good placed here. It stops the king from moving to a2. It threatens knight to c2 checkmate if this pawn is moved. So black has no other option than to move this pawn, otherwise he will be lost in the next move. But we will still go to c2 with check. Now we put this pawn in a perfect place for us. King a2 is a forced move, and now we can grab this pawn finally, and still blocking the black king from coming out. And from here, it's just a technique. Forced move for black. We will do another tempo move for white again. We'll have to do many tempo moves here, but this was the last one. Again, if the pawn moves, we will checkmate. So the king comes to a2, and now we've seen it before. Knight e2, king back to a1, knight to c2, blocking the a2 square, forcing black to move to a2 with the pawn instead. And now, checkmate. So, that was the full study. I hope you enjoyed it. See, it's not easy to find everything from the beginning, how we're going to move the knight back and forth, and really take advantage of the fact that black has an extra pawn, so we can block it to force tempo moves or zugzwang for black, and we can allow it to move when it's good for our purposes. Anyway, that's the daily study. I hope I see you again tomorrow for another one. See you then. Bye bye.